House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Questions and comments. The honourable member for Courtenay-Alberni.
Sure. I want to thank my friend from Abbotsford. Appreciate his perspective. Mr. Speaker, we've heard about the promise from the government to end subsidies to oil and gas. And in fact, we saw the government now somehow magically come up with $4.5 billion for a leaky pipeline. And I have to ask the member because a question, because where I live, people are irate. They are irate that the government can magically find $4.5 billion when we have so much need. And one need, and I think the member and I have something in common, and that's around our salmon. When I look at the Somass River and Clayoquot, they have got nothing. This government promised $75 million for coastal restoration. They've only rolled out $38 million in Clayoquot, and the Somass River have got nothing, despite steep declines in the return of our salmon, where we desperately need money for restoration, for enhancement, for salmon protection, and we haven't seen that money happen. So I wonder if the member can cite in his community the needs in his community that could have been delivered when this government has failed miserably to protect our salmon. And people are livid. They're livid that the government can magically find $4.5 billion, but they can't find a nickel for our fish that are dying, that are on the force of potentially extinction. It is actually disturbing, Mr. Speaker. Maybe the member can share some perspective on that.
Member for Abbotsford.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thank the member for Courtenay-Alberni for his work on the salmon file and his concern for the environment. One of the challenges that this Liberal government faces is that it tries to be all things to all people. When the Prime Minister is in British Columbia, he's promising them the moon. He's the great champion of the environment. When he comes to Alberta, of course, he's the great champion of the energy sector, unabashed champion of the energy sector. Well, you know, Mr. Speaker, at the end of the day, you have to be principled. You can't sit on the fence. Eventually, you're going to have to make some tough decisions. And you're going to have to make some investments in terms of protecting our economy, investments this government has not made. So my colleague from Courtenay-Alberni is correct. There are virtually no investments in improving salmon habitat. My riding of Abbotsford is right on the Fraser River where these fish migrate. And there's some super salmon fishing opportunities when those stocks are healthy, when those salmon runs are healthy. And the fishing is usually in Chilliwack, the riding next to mine. I wish it were in Abbotsford, but it's actually just up the river from mine. So there's tremendous recreational opportunities, but it's a recreational opportunity and an environmental opportunity that we have to protect and do so wisely, in balance.
Questions in